So here's the deal. This guy on Discord keeps trying to message people, but each time someone accepts his friend request, the moment he starts a conversation, the person he's messaging gets a knock on the door and types BRB or back in a sec or sometimes just hang on. Only they never come back. He doesn't know what happens to them, never gets enough details to figure out real names, where they live or who's knocking. Just that someone's at their door, then boom, gone, ghosted. I'm about to find out why. See, I'm the next guy to chat with him. He claims he wants to hire me to solve a mystery, and he's promised me $50 if I can tell him who's at the door. Him. It's always within the first 5 minutes. Me. So someone's gonna knock and make me disappear? Him. I mean, yeah, that's what keeps happening, lol. Me. How many people so far? Him. 8. Me. You sure you're not just accidentally disconnecting? Him. I'm sure you definitely disappear. Me. But if I don't, you'll Venmo me $50? Him. Yeah, just tell me why everyone else vanishes. I check my watch. Only a sucker would believe him. But just call me Jack, Sucker Wild. $50 is just big enough and 5 minutes just short enough that even though I know I'm being strung along, I linger like a jackal eyeing a plump bird overhead, waiting in the impossible hope that it'll fall from the sky. I ask him if he can tell me anything about the 8 others who disappeared. He claims he knows nothing about them except their usernames, which he can't remember accurately. Uh-huh. It's only been 2 minutes. Me. Hey, it reminds me of a joke. Knock knock. Him. Who's there? Me. Jack Juicy. Him. Jack Juicy who? Me. Course I don't see who. Nobody's knocked yet. Him. Ugh. LOL. Me. Knock knock. Him. Who's there? Me. Jack Waddleweed. Him. Do you? Only no jokes with your name in them, Jack Waddleweed who? Me. I told you, we gotta wait till they knock. Him. Bro, stop. I got a million of these. My favorite is actually a Britney one. Like most of my material, it's not a Jack original. Wanna guess where I, read it? I'm about to tell it anyway, though. My phone pings and nope, nothing related to knocking. It's just my girl asking how studying's going. I should probably get off Discord before she actually comes down here to my basement office to check on me. And I hover the mouse over the chat tab to close it, keeping one eye on the clock. Right as I'm about to click, there's a knocking at my door. The number one rule of the paranormal is, it's not real, 99.9% of the time. Anyone telling you a ghost story is selling you a fiction. They might believe in the fiction themselves. In fact, that's why these things travel so well. Nothing sells a lie like a true believer. But at the end of the day, that chain email's not gonna curse you. That creepy doll's not gonna come to life. There'll never be a knocking at your door that will result in you suddenly disappearing off the face of the earth. And Jack, you're never gonna get that 50. So close the chat already. Without closing the chat, I get up and go up the stairs to the door so I can let my fiance into my basement office. My girl Emma is a straight A overachiever, going for her master's in public policy. She promised we'll announce our engagement once I earn my GED, which is why I'm supposed to be studying. Me? I dropped out of high school and quickly found my true calling, raising money for charity, specifically charity for yours truly. Yep, I'm a scam artist. Spent the better half of a decade involved in everything from catfishing to setting up GoFundMes that just fund me. Only degree I ever got was in bullshit. My girl wants me to go to business school and get an actual degree. I reformed before I met her. Straightened out a couple summers ago after karma slammed me into a coma. Nothing like a near-death experience to make a man reevaluate his choices. So, the real reason I stayed in the chat It's not really for that 50. I stayed on the teensy chance people are really disappearing. Because this is my new charity work. This is how I make up for my misdeeds. I save people. As a paranormal investigator. Which, as I've mentioned, 99% of the time is just about uncovering scams. LOL, no way this dude's legit. Everyone he chats with disappears in 5 minutes. 8 people and no one noticed the connection? Come on. But also, what kind of sucker would I be to make it 9? Knock, knock, knock. Abe. I wrap my knuckles on the door and grip the knob. Want to hear a joke? I wait and wait, pretending not to notice the goosebumps on my arms, pretending not to feel the cold knot of dread forming in my gut when she doesn't answer. Then I let the knob slide back into the closed position, drop down and peek under the bottom of the door. No feet, not even a shadow. No one is there. I trot back downstairs and type. Me. Knock knock. Him. Who's there? Me. You tell me, bud. There's knocking on my door. Want to explain what's really out there and why you keep luring people to it? Most entities I've encountered follow specific rules, since they don't really belong in this world. They often require an invitation or a summons. You are probably already familiar with this concept through folklore. Stuff like vampires needing to be invited inside, or the devil making a deal to swindle someone out of their soul. The recurring theme is that whatever terrible fate befalls the victim is in some way incurred by spoken or unspoken agreements, like paranormal terms and conditions. I accepted his friend request. Next came the knocking. If I open the door, next comes my disappearance. Each step is an invitation to the next. But what did I really invite? And what's this guy's connection to it? Him. Oh shit, there's knocking for real? Rest in peace, I guess, LOL. Him. ... Me. I peeked under the door and no one's there. Him. Wait, shit. Really? Oh my god, holy shit, you're the first person who hasn't ghosted me. Are you shitting me or is this for real? Me. Who are you? What's your real name? Him. I'm not comfortable giving my name out online. Me. Why the fuck are you luring people? Him. I'm fucking not, man. I'm just Tim, that's my real name. Tim. I'm just a dude. I have no idea why people get knocks on their doors after I friend them. Me. Meet me in video chat. Him. Yeah, sure, okay. Yeah, Christ, yeah. I want to know as bad as you. But the video chat is all staticky. It is very difficult to make out Tim. His room is dark as if the lights are off, or else the video is just very low quality and the connection is terrible. I cannot actually hear him speak. The knocking continues on the door to my basement office. I need names. Nothing but static. I can't hear you. Look, just send screenshots of your previous chats, and the 50. Tim, why do you need screenshots? Isn't that like a violation of privacy? Do you want to know what's knocking or not? I reply out loud. Tim can obviously hear me and probably see me too, because he hems and haws and types out his responses to me on the keyboard. It's not until I threaten to log off that he finally relents. $50 from some guy named Tim shows up on my account, followed by a series of screenshots. All his conversations follow the exact same pattern as mine. A short exchange followed by a BRB or hang on. The only variation is in how he opens the conversation. Initially beginning with, I'm looking to make friends, but as he gets ghosted, starts changing it up. Now it's, I'm trying to figure out why everyone disappears. At one point he says, does everyone just hate me? Seems like just a regular, lonely dude, baffled by the world tuning him out. He's pitiful enough in these conversations, I might assume it's his extreme social ineptitude, putting people off. Except for the knocking. Knock, knock, knock. The knocking won't quit. When I get up and walk over to the egress window to crack it open, the knocking at the top of the stairs moves to the nearby storage room door. And when I go to take a leak, the knocking comes from the bathroom door, barring me from going in to use the toilet. Good thing I have that potted plant down here that needs watering. Ugh, this is gonna get real inconvenient real fast. Jack, you're in trouble now. Sorry for the pun, I'd pee myself out, but as you know, I can't. And unless I can figure out who's behind the knocking, I'm next in line to disappear. So much for studying. My first and best play here is to learn what I can from the previous victims, and after rereading their chats, I start digging for deeper data. The first guy I identify as a 67-year-old boomer who uses the Discord handle Quentin S. His real name was Quentin S. And his password was almost certainly password or 03XXXX, which is his birth date that he also publicly shares, along with his address on the white pages. He lives about an hour away from me. His last post was about a week ago, and friends of his are posting birthday wishes on his Facebook and asking about him, though there's nothing in the local news about him being officially missing as of yet. The next user I identify as T, Foxfire, who uses the same username for her blog, which links to her Instagram where she shares videos of herself, real name Lucia T, walking her cat, Boo. From the landmarks in her video, I find her address. And since she's in the next suburb over, only 12 minutes away, I call a lift. Lucia's conversation with Tim was 2 days ago, and there's no missing persons report for her either. While waiting for the lift, I search the other users, trying to find any I can identify quickly. The next to come up is a Discord user, Rossman, who I find via the same profile picture on Instagram as R. Osman. She turns up in local news. Search for missing woman continues. I'm still trying to ID the other victims when my lift arrives. Since doors aren't an option, I'll just go out through the egress window. As I approach the lift, is that rapping I hear from inside? Muffled by the ambient noise of the wind. Just to be safe, I ask my driver to lower the rear passenger window so I can climb gracefully in, my upper body collapsing into the seat and my legs kicking out like I'm stuck in a shitty sitcom. Only thing missing is a laugh track. The driver stares like I've lost my mind. Smile, Jack. Thumbs up. This is going to be a great day. Lucia T lives in the lower level of a red brick duplex in an artsy neighborhood. Someone has written a poem in marker on her upper window of the duplex, and Boo the cat peers out at me from the curtains of the lower window. I ascend the front steps, only to be immediately exasperated because, like most duplexes, Lucia's has doors. As soon as I approach, the knocking starts up. Knock, knock, knock. I back off and head to the windows, rapping my knuckles on the frames and looking for any way that it might open. I'm standing there with my hands cupped to the glass, peeking in like the dictionary definition of shady, when the front door opens and an old lady confronts me. It's Lucia's landlady and upstairs neighbor, Doreen, who, according to Lucia's Instagram, adores her cat Boo. I tell Doreen I was passing by and the cat was howling, and I looked in and saw what looked like someone passed out inside. It's a lie I blurt right in the moment, but I have what my girl calls puppy dog eyes, sweet and earnest, and I turn on full labradoodle mode. My concern is contagious enough that Doreen wants to call the police, but I tell her if the passed out person needs CPR, it might be too late. She can call while we quickly check. Doreen unlocks the door, seeming not to notice the knock knock knocking. Nothing happens to her when she opens it. She's not the invitee after all. Lucy, she calls. Hello, I call as I follow her in. Nothing but a cozy living room and a wide-eyed cat. While the landlady goes to check the bedroom, I unlatch a window and open it just a crack. We do not find Lucia. I apologize profusely to Doreen and tell her I must have been imagining that I saw someone fall. I definitely heard a thud, but it must have been the cat. We go back outside, me babbling about how I'm so attuned to cats. I'm not. Dogs are objectively better. Have you ever seen a guide cat for the blind? Of course not. Even cat fanatics know that cats are assholes who'd let the blind walk right into walls. We chat a little longer and I say my goodbyes and head on my way. Right back around to the window, slipping inside. And now, we snoop. What happened to Lucia? There was no buildup of mail outside, no evidence she is in fact missing, but the cat's food and water bowls are empty, and the cat is hounding me, weaving at my feet. When I told a landlady that the cat was signaling me for help, I was lying, but now this distressed little animal genuinely seems to be trying to tell me something important. Hey buddy, where's Lucia? I ask. A dog would recognize the name and take off in search of its owner. The cat, of course, does no such thing, only meowing louder and in my face, clawing at my jeans. Useless. Knock, 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 knock. I press my hand to the door and all the hairs on my arm stand on end. When I take my hand away, the hairs settle. I'm not a medium, not exactly, but ever since my first real encounter with paranormal, I've been attuned to the uncanny. My first encounter left me marked. That happens when you catch the attention of the wrong entity. In my case, the marking is an ink tattoo of a lady in red on my left arm. She's a demon who's sworn to catch me and punish me for all my life's misdeeds. Sooner or later, she's inevitably how I'll die. Anyway, point is, I'm attuned to the paranormal, but I wasn't born with any real psychic gifts, if you even believe in that stuff. So I have no way of knowing what's out there knocking on that door. I'm about 30 seconds away from opening it out of sheer curiosity, but survival instinct and all that. And the fact that the cat vanishes the moment I grip the knob kept me from doing so. Instead, I sink down to the wall, tugging out my phone. Maybe the other victims can shed some light. And presto. When I search for Quentin S., I find an update in local news. Oakside man's body found in home. Cause of death unknown. Authorities are investigating the death of 67-year-old Quentin S., whose body was found in the crawl space beneath the stairs of his home. So he didn't disappear. But then where is Lucia? According to the police report, a neighbor decided to check on Quentin after noticing that his front door was ajar. It was not clear how long Quentin has been dead. The neighbor told police that Quentin's mouth was open in a scream. In a subsequent interview, the neighbor, who asked to remain anonymous, saying he feared for his safety, said, "I can't stop thinking about it. The way his eyes were bulging out. I'll never forget it. It looked like someone chased him under the stairs and literally scared him to death." Huh. Good thing I didn't open it, I think. Eyeing the front door of Lucia's unit, then chasing right on the heels of that thought. But what did he see that scared him to death? One of my best and probably worst qualities as an investigator is that insatiable curiosity like an itch, especially if warnings are blaring. Been like that since I was a kid. What's this red button do? Set off an alarm, and I was grounded. What's in these confidential files on my dad's computer? Huh? Proof he's cheating. Again. Grounded. What happens if I sit in that cursed chair that kills everyone that sits in it? Actually, I haven't done that one yet because Emma wouldn't let me. The chair is still on my bucket list though, or as she calls it, my obscenely stupid list. I should probably check in with my girl before I give in to the urge to do something obscenely stupid. But first, what happened to Lucia? Did she flee? I glance around the living room, narrow my eyes at a couple of envelopes on the floor. Right at my fingertips. Letters. Like she was picking through the mail while opening the door? Dropped the mail? In shock? Fear? Dropped mail. Then where did she go? The front door is where it would have been, so if she fled, She'd run to the bedroom or bathroom. I checked the bathroom, but it is tiny and there is no one behind the shower curtain. Bedroom, then. At the end of the hall, its door is open. The landlady already checked in there. Closet? But the closet has a sliding door already ajar, and I can see the cat peeking out. I push it open further and peer inside. Nothing but clothes and shoes. The cat is crying. The cat is clawing at my pant leg and looking at something. I realize the cat is looking at something under the bed. And I get that feeling, that sinking in my gut, my limbs heavy, my heartbeat suddenly slamming my ears. The cat looks back at me and meows. I don't hear him over the rush of my own blood. The apartment is empty except for me and this loudly screaming cat. I lift up the edge of the bedsheet and drop down to my knees to peer under the bed. There is Lucia. Mouth wide open in a shriek and body stiffened in a fetal position of terror, hiding from whatever entered when she opened that door. Quentin's neighbor did not do the description justice. I'm huddled on the floor holding the cat. I can't breathe. My pulse is slamming out my rhythm with this knock, knock, knocking, and I can't tell anymore whether the pounding is from the door or my heart. It's so fucking loud and I can't breathe, and why did I look at her face? Suddenly I feel like such an idiot. Such a phenomenally hopeless idiot for all those knock-knock jokes. Now I listen to that knocking and all I can see is Lucia's eyes. The bloodshot whites and the way her jaw is all unhinged in a shriek you can practically hear. Hell, I think I can hear it somewhere beneath the knocking. Lord knows I've had my share of scares. I thought I knew terror, but whatever left Lucia like this, I can't meet it. I'm not going to end with my face stretched like hers in that god-awfully sanity-shattering scream. Nope, nope, nope. I can't go out like that. Go away, I holler, not even caring if the landlady hears me now. Why, oh why didn't I just do what I was supposed to do and fucking study? I should have learned by now to follow my girl's advice, which is to make up for my misdeeds in some ordinary way. Donate to good causes, volunteer, become a public servant, or work for an actual charity, or, a cat rescue, literally anything. As far as I'm not poking around in the paranormal. This morning the plan was so simple. All I had to do was pass the practice test for my GED and not friend some haunted dude on Discord. Emma's gonna be so pissed at me, and that's before she finds out what I did to her potted plant. I guess just call me Brittany now. Knock knock. Who's there? Brittany. Brittany who? I fucked up, babe. Knock knock. Who's there? Brittany. Brittany who? Oops, I did it again. I'm in a lift with Boo the cat, who I rescued from the apartment of Lucia. One of the latest people to disappear after being friended by a guy on Discord. Lucia is dead. I'm next. Here's what I know. Anyone who accepts his friend request hears a knocking at their door. The knocking follows them, everywhere, as in, it shows up at other doors, every door. It's not a normal knocking, and as soon as you open the door, you disappear. At least that's what this Discord guy Tim told me when he hired me to find out what's going on. See, Tim doesn't know who's behind the knocking. He claims that every time he tries to chat with a person within about 5 minutes, they type BRB or hang on a sec and then they ghost him. Personally, I have to think there's more to his role in this than just some innocent guy who can't keep a conversation going because people keep exiting. When I agreed to investigate for him, I had him send me all the chat histories with the people who've friended him over the past 2 weeks and disappeared. And the first person I'd ID'd from the chat was Lucia. So that's how I wound up in the lower level of a duplex, snooping around an empty apartment while a cat screamed at me. I finally checked where Boo the cat kept mewing and looking, which was under the bed. I cannot unsee her. Lucia's dead, screaming face will be in my nightmares for the rest of my life. Which might not be that long, since I'm hearing the knocking now too. Been hearing it since chatting with Tim this morning. And unless I can solve this thing, my next update will be my obit. After the lift drops me back at home, I climb back into my basement office with Boo, through the egress window since I can't use doors, releasing the cat to hide under the sofa. Then I pull up the list of Discord usernames Tim gave me. 8 people, but I've only managed to confirm the deaths of 2 of them, Lucia and Quentin, a boomer whose recent birthday will now be a funeral since a neighbor found him tucked in his closet. His mouth was open in a scream, the way his eyes bulged out. I'll never forget it. Those were his neighbor's words describing him. Same way I found Lucia. Same way I'll probably be found. The thing about the supernatural is there are always rules. They are just not the same ones we are using to govern our world. The trick to surviving is figuring out a particular entity's playbook before it takes your life. So, based on the fact that Lucia, Quentin, and I all live in the same geographical area, one of the rules of this knock-knock entity is range. The knocker's influence in the physical world is restricted by distance. And this here is the key point. It's restricted by distance. But distance from what? I check Tim's IP address, compare his location to Quentin's and Lucia and me, and lo and behold, he's smack dab in the middle of us, the center around which we all turn. Either he's the knocker, or he's its first victim. Next, I run some searches through local news using what I've learned about the deaths so far, and boom, another victim. Teen prank ends in tragedy. Questions linger in the death of 15-year-old boy who disappeared after what police described as a prank gone wrong. According to authorities, Dwayne and 2 other teenage boys were live streaming their reactions to a Discord server where people described supernatural encounters. The teens told police that Dwayne was spooked by a sort of ghostly entity knocking on a door. In a video that has since gone viral, Dwayne can be seen opening the door, screaming and running from the room. He was later found unresponsive in the crawlspace beneath the house, and was pronounced dead at the scene. Authorities suspect his death to be from natural causes, but an autopsy is pending. And now my pulse ratchets up. Perspiration beating on my forehead because a viral video? My fingers fly across the keys. One of Dwayne's friends posted it and removed it, but nothing posted is ever truly gone if you know how to search. And there, got it. Dwayne's reaction to the prank. It doesn't show his actual death, of course. No, it shows the moment that, from my perspective, is even more important. I'm about to watch him open the door. 3 teens crowd the screen. Yo, 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 check this, says one, braces glinting as he flashes a cocky smile. Wait bro, show the screen, crows another, seizing the camera, blurry footage as the lens zooms in on the laptop of a Discord chat up. Then the view pans back to the teen with the silver smile, narrating, explaining they're about to debunk this supernatural bullshit while the second team aims the camera at him. Laughter from both, and then the view panning to the third, sitting by the laptop. He waves, shy smile, pushes his glasses awkwardly up the bridge of his nose, and my heart sinks because I know what happens to him. This sweet, nerdy kid is toast. The wannabe influencer of the silver smile says, "This my man Dwayne. He's checking out these scary stories. Supposedly in the next 5 minutes, we're gonna hear a knocking." Thud, thud, thud. The camera jumps and there's a chorus of "Holy shit!" and then a deep baritone voice calls out, "Everything okay in there?" A chubby middle-aged guy with glasses pokes his head into the room, and the boys groan because, "We're recording!" and he backs out and shuts the door. Wannabe influencer and camera boy argue about whether to keep recording or restart. Meanwhile, half out of view, Dwayne cocks his head like a golden retriever. His eyes dart to the door. "Can't you hear it?" he asks. He keeps repeating himself louder until camera boy focuses on him and adds, "Seriously, you can't hear that?" "Hear what?" It's unclear who asked this. All 3 fall to arguing, talking over each other. "Yo, he's bullshitting. Just open it, bro." "How can you not hear that? It's so fucking loud. He's really scared, laughs someone. I think it's wannabe influencer. We're about 4 minutes in and I'm at the edge of my seat. Don't open the door, I silently will the trio, as if it weren't a done deal, as if there were any hope for this poor fucking kid. The others keep ribbing him and he shrills, "Why don't you open it then?" I feel his panic because I hear the same knocking now from the door at the top of my basement stairs. Knock, 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 knock. An incessant drumbeat out of sync with a galloping heart. The other two tell him to quit being such a pussy. Look at him, crying like a little girl. They mock and jeer. Dwayne can't take it anymore and he stands up. My heart rages. I don't want to see the next part. He grips the knob, his buddies hoot and holler as Dwayne straightens his back and flings the door wide open. The shrill scream that erupts from my laptop all but shatters the speakers. In that moment, Dwayne is not a teenager. He's a child. His terrified wails pierced my eardrums. It lasts only a couple seconds. That shriek and the camera dropping, black screen, then the camera snatched up again and Dwayne is gone. A blur sprinting out of the room, and the view ends on a pair of sliding doors, one flung open into the wintry porch. I'm staring at a blank screen. The video is over. I rewind, pause, and play back the moment he opens the door, freeze it and advance frame by frame until I have a clear view of the open door, just after the camera is picked up. I stare and stare, numb with shock and horror at a sort of directionless rage. There is nothing visible in the doorframe. I'm no closer now than I was early this morning to figuring out how to beat this thing. I messaged Tim. Tim, what do you mean they die? How do they die? Me. They die of fear, man. Of total fucking terror. Tim. Oh, no. This is so messed up. What is happening? Me. Sends video. Tim. Oh, Jesus. I don't want to watch this. What the hell? Me. You asked me to tell you what happens to people who disappear. This is what? We're playing a game and I don't know the rules. Tim, your Discord is somehow part of the playbook. I'm gonna need access to this if I'm gonna survive this thing. Tim, access? You mean my login info? Dude, I don't know. I don't even really know you. Me, come on, man. These people died because you friended them. Whether you intended to do this or not, these deaths come down to you. And so will mine when I'm next. The knocking won't quit. I need to solve this. But why do you need more than screenshots? Sorry, bro, I'll send the screenshots if you want, but not my login. This fucking guy. Screenshot this, I type with a pic of my middle finger. But I don't send it because if I do, I might as well marinate myself, lie down on a platter, and ring the doorbell. Because I will definitely be cooked. I look again at the video. While there's nothing there. If there is a way to beat this thing, it's in Tim's account, and I'll need his cooperation. So, I unclench my jaw, sit back in the chair, and smile. Here's a little confession. My reformation from a con man to a paranormal investigator isn't so much a revolutionary change as it is the same old tune with some new lyrics. Yep, it's been a couple years since I cleaned up my act, but even reformed, I'm still a coyote wagging his tail to convince the world that he's a friendly dog. And whether I'm swindling some poor sap out of his savings, or just winning over my girl's skeptical family, it's the same performance, because you see, it's not actually that difficult to get people to trust you. I do what I call the triple A's. Ask, agree, affirm. First I ask about you, something simple and easy. Whatever you say, I agree with you. Then I affirm your feelings, rinse and repeat. Babe, I got you. I'ma validate all your feelings. Just like when I'm catfishing. I'll glean little bits of information from the things you tell me, build my profile of you from that so I know what you want to hear. I'll make you feel warm, feel seen. I delete my middle finger message to Tim and say, "Hey man, I get it. You're just being cautious. If you can help me with a screenshot, you're a lifesaver. The screenshots he sends me are worthless, but I use them to learn more about him. And one of them he confides, 'I swear my attempts at conversation repel people. I wish I could meet someone online who cares about actually talking to you.' Hey man, I care right now, Timmy boy. I care about you more than anyone in the world. Yeah, it's almost impossible to make a real connection. I agree. It's demoralizing, man. I feel you. I affirm. Then I ask. So, serious question. When you friend people online, what are you actually looking for? Like a salesman with a foot in the door. But what I'm selling is that sense of belonging, hoping he'll open the door a little wider until I can step inside and convince him to hand over his password, his keys, whatever I need. Okay? You and me. Tim, let's get this brodeo started. In about an hour, Tim and I are having the bromance of the century. No, I didn't get his Discord login info. I did one better, and got his home address so we can go from Discord buds to beer buds while figuring this thing out. And while I sneak onto his computer and snoop, I tell him I'll be there in 25 minutes, and I call another Lyft. And now as I pace outside in the chill winter air, waiting for my ride, with Boo peeking out of the window after me, anxiously, now comes the really hard part. Letting my girl know where I'm going without really letting her know where I'm going. Because I don't want her at risk, but I also don't want to go missing. She made me promise once never to do that to her. Never to disappear without telling her where I'll be. I need her to know enough to find my corpse if I die. Oh my god, Jack, I'm gonna kill you, Emma screeches at me through the phone. What? Why? I haven't even said anything yet. You changed my iPad lock screen to a picture of you naked with a flower in your mouth. I did do that. I thought it would be funny, and also Emma's iPad lives in her room and usually doesn't go out, but behind her, patrons are seated around a cafe. The shop bell dinging as people flow in and out, her face close to the screen so she can whisper, and I'm distracted by the way her hair cascades over her bare shoulders. She's stunning as always, like a K-pop star ready to shoot an album cover. Sometimes I look at this girl and wonder how I ever batted so far out of my league. Emma's smart and successful and has more academic accolades than I can count. Me? I'm a scruffy short dude, 5'6" if I'm honest, 5'9" if you're dyslexic. Like I am when writing my dating profile. No job, not even a GED. Just a checkered past and a nose for trouble. The only award I'm in the running for, and pretty sure I got this thing locked down, is a Darwin Award. Emma checks over her shoulder to make sure no one's listening. Her cheeks flushed a pretty pink as she whispers, I had a meeting with Yari and left the iPad on the table while I went to the bathroom, and the whole fucking Starbucks saw your bare ass. I burst out laughing. Okay, did you give out my number and tell them I charge by the minute? Seriously? I'm gonna punch you. Kinky, you promise? I imagine her balling her hands into tiny cute fists as she exclaims, Stop flirting while I'm scolding you. You know I take kickboxing. I will hurt you. Yes please, babe, come home and punish me. There's a hang-up tone. A moment later, a text message. I'm filing for a divorce. This is our love language. I look at the text and smile, but then my heart sinks because I know now that I am not going to tell my girl the truth about any of what is going on. Because if she knows, she will want to save me, and saving me would put her at risk. And the one thing that matters most in the world to me is not putting Emma at risk. I know, it's stupid. She's dependable and resourceful, and honestly, she's fucking brilliant. I could really use her help. But I picture Lucia's face, crammed in the darkness, claw hand covering her wide mouth in a stifled scream, and in my mind it morphs to Emma's, and Of all the bad decisions I've made so far today, and I've made plenty, this is the one stupid decision I actually feel good about. Because knowing she's safe, my heart beats just a little easier. Time now for me to go and pay a house call to my new best bud, Tim. When I near the little cul-de-sac matching his address, I start to feel it. It could be anticipation, could be just ordinary fear or uncertainty over what I'll find. But I've got that sour taste in my throat, that metallic tang, and the slight chill on my skin, and by the time my lift drops me off at the edge of the driveway, I'm sweating and the pit of dread in my stomach has hollowed out, and there aren't even any doors around. I hear the knocking in my skull now, a persistent hammering, a thud, 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 just under the beating of my own heart. And when I approach the front door, it gets louder, until the knocking is almost deafening. The windows are dark and the blinds closed. There's trash piled up in the yard. It hasn't been brought to the curb, just left to fester. I type into Discord, "Me. I'm here, I think." That's me ringing the bell. Tim, excuse me not getting up to greet you, but my back's been killing me. But I'm here and back. Me, any chance you got an open window? Tim, try the kitchen. I usually leave that one cracked since it gets real hot in there. Might be a tight squeeze though. The kitchen window is indeed tight. It's one of the few times I'm glad for my weaselly size. The hardest part is getting my shoulders through, and when I'm finally able to squeeze in, I find myself crouched on a filthy counter stacked with dishes. There's old pizza boxes, cartons of half-eaten noodles covered in gray fuzz, dirty mugs developing their own ecosystem, and a half-empty bottle of Mr. Clean. His face so covered in crud only his eyes peek out, desperately begging for release. Perched on the tip of the bottle is a cockroach, big enough to serve up on a platter. Tim, sorry about the mess. I tell him compared to my last apartment, this place is the Ritz. It's not, no matter what Emma claims about my bachelor days, mainly due to the stink, an overpowering reek of mold, rotten food, and BO, and whatever garbage juice is seeping from that pile of trash bags. Ugh, who knows? It's rank. I could cocoon myself in an unwashed sheet for weeks, wake up and shove my face deep into my armpits and sniff, and it'd still smell fresher than in here. And beneath all the ripening odors is maybe another smell, but I can't be sure. I can't be sure through all this stink. Tim, grab a beer if you want from the fridge. I'm about as tempted to grab a beer from his fridge as I am to pluck the massive roach off the counter and pop it in my mouth. But I snatch a couple of beers, and as I make my way through the house, living room, bedroom, bathroom, cautiously poking my head into each open room, the atmosphere is dead silent. Finally, there is only one room left, down a narrow hallway towards a door at the end, slightly ajar. Still no sounds, no tapping keys, no voice calling through the door, not even a hello. Something is horribly off about all of this. I should hear breathing, creaking, the squeak of a chair or a voice. Something. Hey man, I got the beer, I call. Silence. Tim? There is no answer except from the ping on my phone. Tim, come on in. Every instinct screams at me not to come on in. I lean closer to peek through the cracked door, only to gag and stumble back. The stink. That stink. Oh God. The smell is so much worse inside that room, like a slaughtered pig carcass left out to rot, and as I lean against the wall, choking on the horrific stench, Tim is still typing, asking me what sort of beer I like. Seriously, what the fuck is going on here, man? Run, Jack, run. I know it would be a mistake to go inside, probably the worst mistake. In a day full of bad mistakes that I could make at this moment, and I know what Emma would say to me. Everyone makes mistakes, but Jack, for the love of God, you do not have to make a career out of it. But I think of 15-year-old Dwayne, I think of Lucia, and Boo the cat howling for her. I don't believe in vengeance, but someone's got to stand up for them. Someone's got to make sure no one else is next. And even if going in there is risky, Emma knows as well as I do, if stupid were a career, my resume would be a mile long. Guess today I'm really gunning for that Darwin Award because I slipped through the ajar door, pitch black. I slipped my shirt over my nose, my skin crawling as if covered by a million centipedes. My sensitivity to the supernatural triggered so hard. Every hair stuck on end, every nerve vibrating like a plucked cord. Oh, this is bad. This is so bad. At the corner of the room glows a monitor. As my eyes adjust, I make out the silhouette of a slouched figure, hands resting on the keyboard. The hands are not moving. Even in the bluish glare of the screen, the flesh looks bloated, patchy and dark. My shirt muffles my voice. Tim, hey bud, you good? Tim is not good. I fumble along the walls for a light switch, finally flick on the overhead lights. In the sudden illumination so bright it sears my eyeballs, adrenaline ignites my veins like lightning and I slam backwards into the door. A door that bumps closed and begins pounding with a thunderous knocking that hammers my bones and threatens to splinter the wood. A knocking I can barely hear over my sledgehammering heart. All air sucked from my lungs because, fuck me. On every surface in that room are symbols. They cover the walls, the ceilings. They circle in a mad spiral, circling and circling around the slouching figure in the chair. A figure whose eyes have melted out, and in that rotting skin are carved arcane markings. And now I understand. These symbols are painted in the murdered man's blood. That's the reason his home stinks so bad. The beer bottles fall from my grip and clatter to the floor as I notice his right hand. Oh, my bad. My broliance with Tim really was a mistake. Another one for the resume because his right arm, it has no symbols carved into it. Instead, those bloated fingers rest on the keyboard, curled around a bloody knife. There is no murder, and he is no victim. No. He did this to himself, and in true Jack fashion, I've just locked myself in with him. Tim, sorry about what happened previously. Tim, I'm really glad you're here to help. Tim, also sorry it's such a fucking mess. I just can't get up to clean it with my back hurting. Tim keeps messaging me. It's really awkward because he's dead and I'm not sure how to tell him that. Or even if I should tell him that. Because at this stage, I still don't know what killed him. Just that it's knocking on the door hoping for me to let it in. There are no other exits in this room. I'm trapped in here with this pungent corpse covered in symbols that he carved into his own flesh. Symbols on every part of him except his right arm that holds the knife. Maggots wriggle in and out of his eyes. It's nauseating. And there's also nowhere to sit but his chair that he is currently congealing into. So I'm huddled here against the door, trying not to touch any of the dried blood that's all over the walls. The knocking, pounding on the wood behind me and giving me such a migraine. Meanwhile, my girl Emma keeps texting, asking where I am. At the gym, babe, I lie and hope that's not the last text I ever send. In short, I'm having a really bad day. But hey, judging by that knocking, it's also going to be a really short one. Tim, I probably smell. Haven't been able to shower. I mean, do I tell him he's decomposing and that's why he stinks? Breathing in here is like sipping a smoothie of rotting meat soaked in sewage and marinating in all those maggots. I wet a bandana in one of the beers I took from his fridge, tie it around my mouth and nose, but now it's just the eye-watering stink of death with an accent of hops. Strongly considered holding my breath and just suffocating. Tim, sorry, I have to kill you. By the way, well, let you die. Oh, nice of him to come right out and just say it like that. Me. Was that the plan all along? To kill me? Tim, I mean, I kind of thought you'd just open the door, you know? Like everyone else. Me. Like Dwayne? Tim. I didn't know he was a kid. Me. Uh-huh. Tim. It's not fair of you to judge me. I didn't know, okay? And I'm genuinely sorry. What's going to happen to you, there's just nothing I can do to stop it. Well then, apparently Tim does realize a lot more than he was letting on. He just doesn't really like to talk about it. I'm guessing what happened is that he fucked up whatever ritual he was attempting, wrote everything out except on that right arm, so now the entity that he only partially summoned is trying to use other victims as hosts, killing them in the process. Or else it's sucking their life out to strengthen itself in order to finish crossing over. Or maybe it's just hungry. Who knows? Regardless, if it succeeds in manifesting on this side of the door, that's bad news bears for everyone. I tap onto my phone. Me. So what happens to me now? Tim. I mean, you already know. Same thing as what happened to everyone else. I close my eyes and lean my head against the doorframe and sigh. Why? I ask. He doesn't answer. His eyeballs are leaking out of his head, after all. His eardrums and all those bits and pieces, like most of him, are just smelly goo. It's only through the digital interface he's been able to interact with me. So I type into Discord. Me. Why? Tim. Why what? Me. Why are you doing this? Since I'm going to die anyways, I'd like to know why. What am I dying for? This is it. I wait for the villain speech because if I can get him to tell me why, tell me the rules, then maybe there's some sliver of chance I can escape this. And I haven't fucked myself by accepting his friend request and inviting that thing to knock on my door. There's a long pause where 3 dots pass across my screen. Tim is writing. He's writing something long. That, or he's writing and editing, changing his mind. I wait. And then the dots disappear. Nothing. What? Is this fucker ghosting me? Me, Tim. Me, Tim. Tim, I don't owe you anything. Me, you literally invited me to my death, but won't tell me why? Tim, what does it matter since you're gonna die anyways? You got your 50, so I owe you nothing. Me, dude, $50 barely covers the lift to get here. I came here for you, to help you. Tim, liar. You never gave a shit about me. You're only here for those other people. You've been looking down on me from the second you said hello. Me, bro, WTF. I never looked down on you. Me, I don't know who you think I am, but I can promise you I'm in no position to judge anyone. Me, look, as much as you so clearly hate yourself, I promise you I hate myself more. Tim, who the fuck says I hate myself? And suddenly the tension is so thick you could choke on it. The air has gotten colder and the corpse in the chair has an aura of menace. The overhead lights flicker. Apparently it's not just Discord that Tim's ghost has some influence over. And as the lights wink off, plunging the room into pitch black, save for that foreboding glow of the monitor, I know I have exactly one chance to get this right. Weirdly enough, I'm sort of excited, just like every time I've conned someone and had been nearly caught. Every time the mark was this close to slipping off the line. Only right now it's not money at stakes. It's my actual life. I just have to hope I've been keen enough to read on him and play this right. I tap onto my screen. Me. Whatever judgment you feel, bro, that's coming from you. It's like I'm saying, who am I to judge anyone? Honestly, you're probably doing the world a favor taking me out. For a second, I feel like there's no air in the room at all. Like my heart stopped. The silence lengthens, and despair blooms in my chest. And then, Tim, so why do you hate yourself? I let out a breath. Okay. Okay, Jack. Let's do this. Gotta keep Timmy engaged, get him chummy again, and get him to lower his guard by convincing him the biggest loser in this room is me. And then, once he no longer sees me as a threat, hope he's got the answers I need to defeat his buddy knocking outside that door. But alright, one step at a time. One step at a time, right? I tell him why I hate myself. I love myself. Maybe not right now. Right now, a few knock-knocks away from death, gagging on the leftover beer I just guzzled with my chum, the psychotic incel who's planning to kill me. Now's not me at my best, but on a regular day, heck yeah, living the dream. This morning, I woke up next to the best girl in the world, inhaled the syrupy scent of the best pancakes cooked by the best grandma, rolled out of bed and tripped over the best cat. Not that I'm a cat guy, but if I gotta have a cat, this little guy's the best. Then, after breakfast, Emma put a mug of steaming coffee in my hand and kissed my cheek and told me we'll announce our engagement as soon as I get my GED. So, could I please study? She's the kind of girl who never met a test she couldn't ace. High school valedictorian, 4.0 GPA, currently going for her master's in public policy. Me? I dropped out, just don't do well in indoctrination. Standardized tests are all pick the right answers, A, B, or C, and never mind there's a whole alphabet out there. No, you gotta tick the right box. Pull her inside the lines. Your thinking done for you, so be a good cog in the machine. But baby, put me in a box, I'm always gonna claw my way outside it. Anyways, point is, Timmy here is never gonna relate to the self-made huckster Jack. I need to sell him someone on his level. You know they put me in special ed growing up. Normally I don't dig up my skeletons, but right now, for Tim, it's time to yank those old bones from deep in the closet, from under dirty kids' clothes and that elementary school lunchbox. That lunchbox that smells like stale bologna. Gross, it's rank, right? Dig into that skull for all those crusty memories and tell him about the dead kid with a dead name, Jacqueline. But don't actually tell him her name or pronouns, because nothing would torpedo this bromance faster. Tell him about that kid who couldn't stop fidgeting long enough for fill-in bubble tests, whose teachers and parents all said the same thing. If you don't try harder, they're going to stick you in a class with the dumb kids. And that's where Jacqueline wound up. With the dumb kids. Saw the score and everyone's measured by, and guess what your measure is, kid? Failure. The thing about a good lie is it's gotta taste like the truth. My parents wouldn't recognize me now with a week's worth of stubble and a rugged physique and six-pack. What's that? You don't believe I have a six-pack? Fuck you. I lift. Having a six-pack's my reward for all those workouts. It's just in the fridge. I joke, but the point is there's not much of Jacqueline left in Jack. But pulling out those moldy memories gives my tale a tang of truth. A big heaping spoonful of it. And right at the end, I slip in a lie. Me. I can't even blame you for tricking me. Really. I'm still doing the same dumb shit. Tim. Bro, did you ever get tested for ADHD? Me. Is it any surprise I fell for your trick so easy? I know I'm gonna die. I got no one to mourn me, so who cares? Anyway, since you got me as kind of a captive audience, what's your story, Tim? Tim does not respond at first. I wonder if I hammed it up too much. I prod. Me. For real, man. You can't fuck up worse than me. Why are you so down on yourself? Got anything to do with this knocking? Tim. Yeah, I guess it does. 6 months ago, Tim was seated in that very same leather gaming chair, gulping down a bottle of the same watery-ass piss beer I recently pulled from his fridge. Back then, he was freshly showered and smelled faintly of Old Spice, and put on his headset, eager to voice chat with a girl that was his obsession, Vivian. aka Viv, a ghost girl, according to what she told Tim on Discord. She said she died in a car accident but wasn't able to rest. The world as she experienced it was lonely and strange. She couldn't touch people, couldn't interact with people. The only interaction she could manage was through electronics. You know how ghosts can cause the lights to flicker and stuff? Well, motherboards are the same way, just smaller switches of ones and zeros. That's how I can type to you, she told him online. She said she couldn't send real-life photos because she was dead, but she sent AI images that captured what she used to look like. Him, check her out. Me, hot damn, she's got nice, eyes? She has nice tits, which are 100% fake, just like Viv. Even her voice, which he describes as ghostly and electronic sounding, is obviously AI. I've sold some whoppers before, but even I am boggled at the way this Viv scammer somehow found the one lonely guy on the internet desperate enough to be suckered into chatting with a ghost girl. A ghost girl who repeatedly requested Amazon gift cards and Venmo. As Tim dreamily described their chats, there's this squirmy feeling in my gut that I don't think it's just the piss beer. I'm not used to seeing a sucker's perspective. Seeing the fish swallow the hook while the metal tears its belly open. He's dead because someone duped him, and 8 other people are dead because of him, and it all comes back to the moment Vivian ended their cyber affair. The screenshot he sends me of her last message is filled with emojis. Thank you for everything. I have found my peace and am moving into the ever after. Heart, 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 kiss, kiss, kiss. Tim. I wanted to be happy for her, but Viv leaving really messed me up. She was the love of my life, you know? I am grateful that Timmy here can't see my expressions because the love of his life, I drag my hand down my face and side-eye his corpse. Me. I'm sorry you went through that. Tim. The thing is? Me. Question mark. Tim. This is why I need you to understand. I know you're mad about what's going to happen to you, but this is the only way I can see her again. That thing outside the door? Me. That's Viv? Tim. Bingo. Me. Your ghost girlfriend is knocking on the door to kill me. Tim. Uh-huh. Tim. It's my fault, really. I fucked up the ritual. And even as Tim is explaining, telling me how it all went down, how Viv came back wanting to be together, how he fucked it all up with a simple mistake when he didn't carve both arms, a plan is forming in my mind. A simple, terrible plan because I'm pretty sure I've got a way to end the threat of the relentless knock-knocking on the door behind me. But I'm going to have to be a really shitty person to make it work. Karma's a bitch, you know? A bitch named Vivian, but also named Tim and Jack. We're all getting what's coming to us, and it's all going down right now because I am going to end this charade by giving Tim exactly what he wants. My knife carves into the mottled flesh on his rotting arm. It doesn't bleed, just opens up these dark lines. I trace out in the skin. I copy the symbols from the walls at Tim's instruction. The cuts swim in my vision and the hairs on my arm stand upright, like I'm about to be struck by lightning. I've replenished my beer-soaked bandana with a second bottle, but my eyes still water from the smell and my stomach bucks. I unfortunately did not have the foresight to bring gloves, and when some of his skin sloughs off into my fingers, I have to stop and shake it off. This is gross. Tim, for the most part, is over the moon. He kind of can't believe I'm granting his last wish. I kind of can't believe it either, and fantasize myself anywhere else. Maybe in a world in which I did as my girl asked and studied, lol. Might as well fantasize myself 6 feet tall while I'm at it, with washboard abs. Not that I don't have those, I definitely do. In the right lighting, if you squint. Tim. Holy shit, man. Tim, I cannot thank you enough. Tim, like TBH, I don't even know how many people she'd have taken if you hadn't shown up. Me, just want to help you get reunited and no one else dies. Win-win. But it's not win-win, and since we're drawing near the end of the charade, just a few more arcane symbols left to trace. It's time I come clean to you good folks reading at least, before we summon Viv. Right, so, for the record, up until this exact moment, I wasn't in any real danger. I mean, was it scary? Yeah, and did I scream? Also yeah, but that's because I'm a coward. It's a feature, not a bug. Heroism against the paranormal tends to result in a premature doom. Another reason I don't like to involve Emma. The truth is, I intentionally got myself stuck with Tim, letting him sucker me so I could sucker him, and the situation is kind of like a loaded gun. Sure, it could kill me, but consider the rules. Vivian can't harm me unless I open the door and invite her in. And just like I wouldn't pull the trigger on myself, duh, I'm never going to open the door. As for being trapped in this room because of the knocking, realistically, I could call the cops. Emma, anybody, they're not the invitee, so they could open the door for me and let me out. Easy peasy. So yeah, I may have over-dramatized the danger in the retelling. Sorry. But even if I wasn't actually risking much prior to this moment, I'm about to do something wildly, ridiculously reckless. The proverbial gun is about to go off, with me right in its sights, because I'm about to summon Vivian, and she's not who he thinks she is. After she left him, he began using Ouija boards, seances, and rituals to call into the beyond and beg his beloved to return. He'd been researching the occult since the beginning of their cyber affair, seeking ways to bring her into the living world. That's actually why she left. He kept pressing her to try rituals to summon her spirit into a vessel, either a doll or a living human she might possess. When the arcane rituals he suggested became more and more extreme and involved him mutilating himself, Vivian sent her last text, telling him that she found her peace and was continuing her journey to the beyond. The catfisher cut the line. But the hook was still embedded deep, and one day, after countless attempts to reach Viv in the beyond, one day, he heard knocking. Me, how did you know it was Viv? Tim, come on, man. Who the fuck else would answer from the other side? Nothing good, Tim. Nothing good ever answers from the other side, is what I wanted to scream at him. Enter Viv 2.0, a horrifying entity that drives people to death with terror. Not that I could ever convince Tim his entity is different from the original Viv, or that original Viv was a catfisher. To him, they are simply his beloved. Telling him to let go of Viv because the relationship was never genuine, it'd be like telling me to let go of Emma. I mean, sure, you can argue that Emma's real and Viv isn't, but she's real to Tim. Real enough that he carved his flesh and painted his blood on the walls, and already sacrificed 8 people for her. Tim, she promised we'd be together, soul bonded, deeper than any marriage of flesh. All I had to do was complete the ritual, but I got weak from blood loss and fucked it up. In reams of text, Tim spills his obsession to me, describing how she appeared in his trances as a sort of shining angel stuck just beyond the door, unable to come through. Unlike the original catfisher who used Discord to message him, Viv 2.0 could only communicate by sending images and sensations into his mind. She gave him visions of what to do. It took him weeks to understand her arcane communications. Eventually, he learned the symbols. When he finally attempted the ritual that would summon Viv 2.0 into this world, he succumbed to blood loss before he could finish, leaving the summoning incomplete. Since then, he has been reaching out through Discord on her behalf. Every new victim who opens the door to Viv 2.0 gives her just a little more power, a little more access to the world, bringing her closer to manifestation. Tim is in many ways a classic ghost. Sure, he's more lucid than most, and his ability to communicate through messaging is rare, likely boosted by his connection to Viv 2.0 and his overall familiarity with the other side prior to his death. Even so, like most ghosts, he's bound geographically to the place he died, able to interact with the physical world, but only in limited ways, and as often happens with spirits, he keeps forgetting he's dead. That's why he keeps citing that his back hurts as the reason he can't get up from his chair. As a result, it hasn't occurred to him that a corpse may not be an ideal vessel for Vivienne. That she was expecting a living human to possess, and that fulfilling the ritual now, after he's been rotting for over a week, might not be to her liking. I certainly haven't enlightened him, because as much as a part of me pities him, I think of Lucia and Dwayne and the others who answered the knocking, the people who didn't get a choice when they died screaming. And now, the beer tastes sour in my mouth as I make the final cuts. I swallow the last dregs of the bottle, bringing back the buzz to kill my conscience. Me, ready. Tim, Jack, I love you, man. You're a real one. As I trace the last line, all the hairs on my body stick straight up. My flesh crawls as if a million ants wriggle and squirm just beneath my skin. There's a phrase I have to repeat 3 times. Tim types it out phonetically and has me practice it. Includes a particular string of syllables that makes the strangest shape in my mouth. And I'm pretty sure that's the word for Viv. Practicing it sends a sensation like an ice pick in my brain. Once I have got it, I step just outside the center of the spiral of bloody symbols around that room and tug down my beer-soaked bandana to utter a chant that translates roughly to forever together, forever together, forever together. As the phrase leaves my lips for the 3rd time, the room feels strange. It takes me an unsettling moment to realize why. The knocking has stopped. After ceaseless hours of knock, 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 knocking, rattling around in my skull without respite, you'd think silence would be a relief, a blessing. Instead, I am chilled to the marrow. I look at my phone, the low battery warning flashes. Ignoring that, I type, me, Tim. Me, did it work? Are you still there? Is Viv with you? Nothing. The body in the chair hasn't moved. Flies crawl in and out of his sockets. Suddenly I feel very alone. Just me and a rotting corpse. I back away from him, glancing at his glowing monitor. Our Discord chat is up, but no further activity. No 3 dots. No response. After a few moments of standing stock still and petrified, I finally lean over the dead guy and peck at a few keys, checking his message history for any other victims, then turning off the computer. In the dark screen, I catch a glimpse of my face, anxious black eyes, stubble, spatters of grime. I look shifty, like a thief plotting his getaway. I lean down and disconnect the router and modem, unplug all the power cords and cut through them with my knife, remove the Ethernet cable and tuck it into my hoodie. There is no way, natural or supernatural, for this computer to connect to the internet anymore. I head for the door and grasp the knob. When I feel no goosebumps along my arms, no chill of supernatural energy, I pull the door slowly open. Nothing happens. Well, that was anticlimactic. I turn and step out the door and shut it behind me, all but whistling relief washing over me. Thump. I fucking knew it. I should absolutely not open the door again and peek back inside. Absolutely not. I should just leave. Go on my merry way, and whatever happens, happens. But as we all know now, I'm an idiot. I open the door. Silently, cautiously, a jackal nervously peeking into the den of a bear. I poke my head into the room. It's dark, so I open the door wider to let the light in. The chair at his desk is empty. Fuck. It's empty and electronics are still dead, so where is he, Jack? Where the fuck did the dead man now possessed by the knocker go? He must still be in this cramped room, but he's not in the chair and I look up. There are certain moments in life that tell you exactly what sort of metal a man is made of. Whether he is chiseled stone or rough leather. Whether he has a spine of iron or steel. Moments of crisis where the man's true nature comes out. I shriek at the top of my lungs. The tippy top. I'm talking notes that choir boys couldn't hit. Somewhere I think glass breaks. Tim, the fucking corpse, is crawling on the ceiling above me. Lies buzzing in his sockets and mouth open and teeth bared, his rotting body leaking fluids. He drops on me. His corpse, by the way, is massively heavy. He's over 6 foot and thickly built, and when his full weight crashes down, it's like being hit by a bus. There's this horrible shrill ringing in my ears. I don't know if it's from his shrieks or mine, maybe both, and for a moment, everything in my vision goes white, and it's like my soul is being drawn up out of my body. I see myself pinned under the rotting dead guy, his mouth wide and screaming in my screaming face. Then there's this reddish glow emanating off the ink on my arm. It's my tattoo. The portrait of the lady on my arm is like a brand marking me as hers. Her mark won't stop the entity from killing me, but the crimson glow briefly distracts it from whatever it's doing. And with everything I got, I heave. Thank God for adrenaline. Thank God I've been hitting the gym so hard. And thanks especially the air that I gulp in the second I heave him off me. One deep, precious breath before I'm running, feet pounding down the hallway. I collide with a petite black-haired girl. "Jack!" Emma shrieks as we rebound off each other, my momentum taking me into the wall while she sprawls out on the floor. "Emma, what are you—" "Duck!" Her shrill cry pierces my ears, and that's when I see the shotgun glinting in her hands. As she swings the barrel up, there's a thunderous crack, an explosion of gore from the monstrosity lumbering behind me. He barely sways, and she fires again, and then I grab her arm and scream, "Run! Run!" And we run. The shots seem to have stunned him. We make it out the front door. My battered old car is in the driveway. Emma had the foresight to take my vehicle instead of her newer electric blue hybrid. I race for the trunk where I keep all my gear and grab a gas can, and Emma, bless her, she gapes at me, her dark eyes wide and her long hair tangling around her face. But when I babble that we need to burn the place and that zombie thing is in it, she nods and grabs a bottle of vodka from the back and stuffs a rag in. As we head back in the house, she gasps, "I thought you were supposed to be studying." "Long story. I know I saw the chats on your laptop. At the gym. My ass." I smile at her. She's tiny and furious, with her black eyes narrowing and the shotgun tight in her grip. This girl, man. I love this girl. She never looks hotter than when she's saving my ass. I open the door. Emma levels the shotgun, covering me while I sprinkle gas around the stacks of boxes, soiled carpet, stained and sagging couch and furniture. No sign yet of any... The scream is so loud, Emma and I both jump and scramble. I can't hear my heart sledgehammering my ribs or the question Emma shouts at me. I can't hear anything except that howl. It's the most terrible sound in the world, and when I force myself to ignore all my instincts and follow the sound down that hall, Emma tugs my arm. But I ignore her. I somehow already know what I will find. I push open the door at the end of the hallway, and there he is. He's slumped in the corner, in the center of all those spiraling symbols, his jaw unhinged in a wide and terrible scream. He doesn't see me, doesn't seem to have any sense of presence. I scatter the contents of the gas can around, and when I near him, I fling a little on him. His head turns. The sightless sockets stare into mine, but he doesn't stop screaming. He doesn't come after me, just screams and screams. I light the Molotov. Later, Emma will ask me, what was that monstrosity? And I'll tell her what I know about Viv 2.0, aka the Knocker, that it is an inhuman entity that, when it manifests, drives people out of their minds with fear, that I knew being together with this entity could only have an immediate and detrimental effect on Tim, that I didn't know whether his soul would be consumed like a minnow swallowed by a bigger fish, or whether he'd experience the same mind-fucking horror as Dwayne and Lucia, only ongoing. All I knew was that Tim would keep killing unless I put an end to his fantasy, and that rather than deal with an incorporeal menace reaching people through the internet, the best way to neutralize him was to trap his beloved Viv within his rotting vessel, and then destroy them both. I hurl the Molotov and he lights up. Emma and I back out of there as fast as we can. My last glimpse is of his huddled corpse, arms outstretched in agony, head thrown back as the bright flames lick around him, flesh bubbling and charring. Long after he's toast, long after I imagine he must have just been charred bones, while the fire roars to the sky and the house burns. Still, I hear those screams ringing through my consciousness, and I wonder if it's him or just my guilty conscience. You could have died. I mean, if I'd found you screaming and dead like Dwayne or Lucia. It almost happened. It's evening now, and Emma and I are both back home and cleaned up. I had to shower twice to rinse off the terrible stench. Boo the cat is settled in my lap on the sofa. He seems to know the threat is gone now. He'll be going to a foster home soon, but for now, I'm keeping him confined to my office in the basement. And Emma? Emma is chewing me out, rightfully so. It doesn't matter that I remind her that I wasn't going to open the door. I even had a backup plan. The knocking had a limited geographical range, so if I couldn't maneuver the information out of Tim, an easy way to save myself would be to just take a trip out of state until I could come up with a better plan. It was only at the very end that I was at risk. She is still quite angry, though. She paces in front of me and bursts. Why are we having this same damn conversation when you promised me last time? You promised me. I know, babe. Don't just, I know, babe, when you could have. Tears stop her from continuing. I didn't tell you because I was scared of you getting involved. I know it was selfish. She opens her mouth to add a comment and I preempt her. Selfish and stupid. It's just, you are brilliant, okay? You've got this amazing future ahead of you. You're in this grad program and you've decided and you are dedicated and talented and just so fucking smart. You are going to change the world. I can see it. And like, what would I be to take that light out of this world? To let my mistakes be the reason that your life is snuffed out before you even get a chance to shine. That somewhat diffuses her anger. Emma can't help but glow at compliments. It's the teacher's pet in her. She considers me. Wow, that's very poetic of you. But it's the truth. I mean every word. If there's any hope for this world, it's with people like Emma trying to make it better. She sinks next to me on the cushions. So why can't you see that you are a light in this world too? I smile. Because that's super corny and I don't like popcorn. Her lips purse. Okay, well that's a lie. I've seen you go through a whole bucket without sharing. Also, you are all about, oh, I'm Jack. I love being me. I can't be tamed. I laugh at her faux deep voice and she goes on. And I love and admire that about you. But why is it so easy for you to risk your life? And so hard to risk mine? Jack, why do you act like the world would be a better place without you in it? Huh? My mind blanks like I've been sucker punched. And while my brain's spinning like an empty hamster wheel, the only thought that surfaces is Tim's final shriek. He was a delusional asshole who let people die so he could be with his beloved. But he was also just a dude who was lonely and broken in a dysfunctional world that breaks people. What happened to him only happened because he wasn't smart enough to see through the lies that were told to him by someone slyer than he was. Someone like me. Later, I'm in the bathroom and I catch a glimpse of my ink. Coyote on my right arm. Lady and snake on my left. People always think that's Eve. No. Originally, it was just a snake to symbolize Satan. The original trickster. What, look, I was going through some stuff at the time. But after I made my bargain with the demon that always appears to me as a gorgeous lady in red, after I won her game and she swore to catch me, she marked me with her image. I genuinely try not to look at that tattoo because I don't like to be reminded. I force myself to look now because I am sick of running from my misdeeds. She's already waiting to catch my eye, her inked lips curving in a wicked smile. That arm aches. Karma's a bitch, and no matter what I do, how fast I run, or who I save, or who I slaughter, or how I try to pay my debt to the world, she's going to catch me. That's all Dead Air Radio has for you tonight. If these stories found you at the right moment, hit that subscribe and like button so more of you can find me. We are building a catalog for everyone, everywhere. And if you really want to take Dead Air Radio with you, we're on Spotify and everywhere you listen to podcasts. Search Dead Air Radio, hit follow, and I'll be in your ears wherever you want to take me. I'm Mr. McGrin. See you at the next transmission. And if you need something more right now, check this one out.